Traxxas Unlimited Desert Racer, an amazingly unique truck, and one that's in a class of its own. I bought this truck about 9 months ago, and over that time I've learned quite a bit about it. I'm going to go over the strengths and the weaknesses that I've learned over the past 9 months, so you can make an informed decision on whether you should get one of these yourself.
It's one of the rare sunny days here that it's not so cold. The snow's starting to melt, but that makes for a wet drive.
Don't worry, we'll get back to that in a bit. I've made some pretty awesome videos about this truck already. Those include a full unboxing and test driving review of the truck, as well as a comparison between this and the Amain Hobbies 6S. I've also done some racing and testing with this truck on a ton of different surfaces and using different tires. So check those all out on the channel, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that hype button if you like this video. The scale realism on this truck is top notch, but even small things like the lettering on the tires for BF Goodrich, or the functional lights, or some of the faux features in the back that look like a real race truck. This is one of those trucks that looks great when you take it out and run it. Or it looks really cool sitting on your shelf. You want to look back as you're leaving the room and take one last look at it. That's how special it feels. So looks wise, I just love this truck. It's one of the best features of it. And that includes with this body on or with it off, because underneath it reveals the next best part of this truck, the suspension. When I first got this truck, I knew the suspension was going to be one of the best parts, and it did not disappoint. That has been true all along. In the front, it's got double wishbone independent suspension, and in the rear, it's got triangulated 4-link suspension connected to a solid axle with a locked diff in the rear and a limited slip in the front. It's even got 2 long travel aluminum shocks on each corner, with one of them having springs with adjustable ride height collars. It's got realistic and functional front and rear sway bars with limiting straps as well in the rear. I've had fun taking it on different surfaces and seeing how the suspension handles. So far I've done it in sand, hard packed dirt, as well as even snow. And it has not disappointed. And especially cool for someone like me who loves to film and do things in slow-mo every once in a while. This is the slow motion king. As you can see, it's even handled some whoop sections, and this dominates those as well. Now, despite all of this awesome suspension, there's one thing it can't do, and that is bash. Really, the truck overall is not built for that. So if you're someone who likes to jump, I would not recommend this kind of a truck. I've tried it a little bit and was quickly swayed away from it. You can tell just how it lands really hard on a big jump, bottoms out quickly, and for such an expensive and intricate truck, the last thing you want to do is go blowing it apart on a big jump.
Oh, whoops. So that's why you don't bash this thing. There's really no air control.
I generally keep it on flat ground or over bumps and whoops. It has taken some abuse in that realm, but I stay away from jumps, and that's something I love, so it's kind of a trade-off. Now, we can't always baby a truck, nor would it be very fun. I know I certainly don't. I like to end up pushing this thing further and further until something bad happens.
Whoa.
Oh no! So let me tell you some of the parts of the truck that are most likely to break, and what you can do to upgrade those parts so you can reduce the likelihood of it happening again. I'll put affiliate links in my description for all these parts as well as the truck. Before I tell you some of the weak points, let me tell you another weak point, which is fixing the truck. It's quite hard to access parts, much harder than many of the trucks I'm used to, like Arma Creightons and other bashers. This is an intricate and well-built design. However, it's much harder to get to the parts you need. Particularly if you're a beginner to the hobby, this truck can be harder or more intimidating to work on than some others. Now, I haven't actually broken that many parts on this truck, but there has been some. So let me tell you what that is. The front drive shaft is a known weak point on the truck, and that's because it's built with a plastic one. Many people will agree that that's one of the first things you should replace, or if you break it, you should upgrade it. And that's just what I did. Traxxas actually makes a metal version of that front drive shaft, and I've installed that on this rig to make it a little stronger so we don't have to deal with that again. Another well-known weak point on the truck is the hubs. Similar to the front drive shaft, the wheel hubs are plastic as well. And as a result, they have a tendency to strip out the wheel itself. So I didn't break those yet, but as a preventative measure, I did replace them with metal hexes. That's something that Traxxas also sells. And there's also many other versions that sell them as well, like Hot Racing sells one that looks really slick, where you're able to keep those cool scale disc brakes. The tires that they come with are really great, super grippy, and really realistic. I love the way that Traxxas put the matching color on the rim beadlock. The downside being that you must seal off the wheel holes in the inside before you bash it. I made the mistake of not doing that, and I've got 2 extra tires here that are very heavy compared to the others because they quickly filled up with sand. So be sure you tape the center of this and cover up that wheel hole, vent the tires on the top, and you should be better off. You can also see that I have paddle tires on the back. And those really come in handy when you're bashing in the sand or the snow. It's really made the truck come alive and grip so much better. So if you've got those kind of surfaces, these tires are a must.
Yeah, they did. Paddles for the win.
Something that I've noticed that's broken quite easily, but not many people talk about, is the body attachments. The way the body attaches to the truck is a really weak spot. They're only attached by these small screws, and as you can see, they've broken clean off. That happened at one point on a pretty hard crash.
Oh my God. Body damage.
And from then on, it's continued to break slowly but surely around the truck. So stick around for the next video where I attempt to reinforce this body, see if I can bring it back to working order. Taking off the body is actually really difficult as well. I've gotten the technique down, but that's only after a ton of practice. So you have to do it in a specific order, or at least that's the way I've learned. So you must first take off the top part by sliding it over, and once you've got this top bar out, then it's easier to take off the bottom one. Hopefully that saves some of you some time, because otherwise you're going to be banging your head against the wall trying to get this thing off. Another point of frustration is the battery tray. I find this thing very tricky to sometimes take on and off. It also doesn't have the biggest battery tray. Outside of Traxxas's own batteries, it's hard to find ones that fit. These Huvoo 3S batteries are thin enough to fit in there. It's also incredibly difficult to plug in and unplug the batteries from these recessed ports here. There's no good way to get your fingers in there, and sometimes you have to end up pulling the battery by its wires, which is the worst idea and could easily break the batteries. While I'm under here, another factor to consider is this rear drive shaft. This one is metal, so they didn't put the plastic one on this. However, it gets very hot, I've noticed. So just be careful when you've done a lot of running of this truck that you don't put your hand on this. These rear trailing arms are also a known weak point for the truck. I haven't broken them yet, but I know that there are some aftermarket options out there to replace these with aluminum, so I might do that at some point. And not only are the batteries difficult to unplug, but you have to do it anytime you want to turn off the truck. And that's because Traxxas did not design this with an on-off button. Why? Their first iterations of this truck, I believe, did have one, and then they took it off because they were afraid people were going to leave the truck running unknowingly. Now, while I won't forget to turn off the truck, I will forget to turn off this remote. And that's because the only way you know it's on is because this little green slot here tells you it's on. There's only this little light up top too. I find that this is actually easier to leave on than the truck is, whereas my other remotes seem a little more apparent on the surface that they're still turned on. Something like this where the actual screen is lit up. Or even a basic Arma remote, the SLT3, where there's a bright red light on the side. This truck is quite pricey as well. Currently, in the US, you can get it for $799. But when you consider the uniqueness of the truck, for me, it's still worth it. One really cool feature of the truck is the lights. Adjust the lights through a button inside of this. You can use this Traxxas Link app to adjust different features on it, including the lights. For on this app, you have more options to toggle between different light combinations, such as, but you must first buy the Link Bluetooth module that hooks into the remote here before you can access that. And when I first got it, I thought it was pretty neat, but since then I haven't used it at all. All I really want to do is turn it on and start driving. I don't want to mess with my phone at the same time. So to me, that was not really that worth it. The stock servo on this is very slow. So that might be another future upgrade to try. Oh no. I actually just noticed another broken part on the truck that I actually had not noticed before. It looks as though the tubular roll cage / chassis of the truck has broken at the point where the limiting strap is attached. Ah, that's a shame. And would be an intense repair to replace, given how many points at which this is bolted onto the truck. I'll have to look into that. And I'm not so sure how much chassis strength this provides because it's not the main chassis underneath. There may be more of a looks element to this than actual structure of the truck, but nonetheless, it's going to cause flex in this rear end. I'm going to jerry rig this for now, guys, and have to look into other options for fixing this. And now back to the bashing.
I got the top off of this because that body is still messed up. One of the rare sunny days here that it's not so cold. The snow's starting to melt, but that makes for a wet drive. It just loves the power slide. Yeah, so because this has a locked rear differential, it's not great for driving on hard packed surfaces with high grip. This has got very low grip, so it can slide. If it didn't have the locked diff, the wheel that's not getting traction would counter it by spinning. But this doesn't. They both spin at the same time. So you do have to be careful if it's really tacky high grip. But it loves surfaces like this where it can just slide. Whoa! Nice, two wheel in it. It's a power slide king. This is what I was talking about earlier. There's a quality to it that's just so cool and can't be explained unless you put your hands on a remote. So this poor guy's gonna get a good drying off afterwards. Because as you can see, it's soaked. But it's a waterproof truck and it loves to slide, so I had to do it. So I found out that I can purchase this roll cage in sections, so that part that's broken can be replaced by replacing just the back portion. So that's nice. However, there's other parts on this that I should upgrade next. And when I do, I'll let you know what those are and how it went. Hope this video helped you decide whether you want to get this truck for yourself. And as always, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.